Right, what we've got is a new project going on. We've got this bucket here, which is it's a fairly old one. It's not mine, just somebody gave it to me. I'm going to, you can see chalk marks in there. I'm going to cut gussets out every second one, and I'm going to use it as a rake bucket. In other words, when you pick up a load and it's got, say, rubble and sand and everything, you'll shake it and all the sand will go through the bottom, or supposed to, and then you just take the rubble away. And then that is going on to this old 1845 Bobcat that I've got here. That's when I've put all the new chains, chain drives, all the wheel bearings and everything's been done. And what's going to happen is I'm going to make a bracket like that one there, and then you've got like a, well, it looks like a bolt, but that piece there clips into that, and then when you put loading on it, then there's a bolt down the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, so I have to make a bracket like that which will fit onto this section. Now it looks rough at the moment because this is a different type of bucket. That is one that's where there's a wedge goes from underneath, and then there's a locking mechanism which has been cut off, and that sort of locks it together. So I have to make my own adapter to go onto here. So that's just roughly cut there, and also cut on that side, as you can see. And then what will happen is I have to make a bracket which will fit on the Bobcat, and I'll put on here, work out the angle, then fill it all in and weld it all up with the welder. So I'll just finish off the centre cutting out. There we go. It's just about through now. Okay, there we go. Now we've got a hole going through there, and that will be ready to accept the bush and also the pin that'll go through that. We've got a length of 4140 in there at the moment. The actual overall length, I think, is about 160 from there to there. It's in fairly snug, but the 4 spaces or 4 bushes I'm making will actually come up to about 105, but so I've allowed an extra few mil there. So what I'll be doing, I'm going to do the centre first. Yeah, well, what we're doing, we're just going to put a centre mark in there first, and then I can put a live centre in there to support it while I'm just going to touch up the outside just a touch. Doesn't really need much. So that'll save a lot of playing around later on. You'll also really need is I just need just enough on the outside just to, well, make it look pretty, I suppose. What I'm going to do is I'm just testing this, make sure it's not going to bind up anywhere first. By the way, if I didn't say it, this is actually 4140, or that's what I've been told it is anyway. And all I'm going to do is clean up the OD, just so it's nice and round, then I'll drill the centre out. Then, yeah, so that'll be make to suit the actual support that has to go on. Beautiful finish. It doesn't have to be, well, that's fairly smooth as it is there. I could put a file over it and polish it up. It's not necessary because the OD is going to be welded back onto the other unit as I was showing you earlier. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll set it up, then I'll have to drill a hole which will go pretty well that deep, which is about 100 and that's 110 to there, so probably about 115 mil deep. And then I'll bore it out, and then we'll part it all off as we're going along. Now what I've done, I've slowed the right down to try, otherwise it's going to burn out the drill bit, I think. I just tried it on about 12,000 RPM, something like that, and it just binds like it just did then. So I've slowed it right down, sitting on about 115 RPM at the moment. All right, now we have eventually put our hole in the center there. The bolt fits through. I've machined all that. Now we're going to make these to length, and so to do that, in the previous video I made this parting adjustment tool. I don't know if you've seen it on previously, but this is what it looks like. Now what I'm going to do, that comes back and actually bolts onto the side of the post here, and then it'll actually protrude out through the side, and then I can adjust it so I can cut each spacer, or actually it's a bush. Each bush will be cut exactly according to the adjustment on this tool. So what I'll do, I'll fit it all up and then we'll carry on from there. Alright, we've got our parting tool. That's this one here, parting adjustment tool. So what happens is the distance from there to there is, which will be, when that touches, that will be approximately 22 mil deep. And so what will happen is, I think you can see the parting tool here, it'll go forward. When that touches, that'll be 22 mil. Then I'll just cut it off, clean up, and just carry on from there. Right, I've found what I've had to do is push the shaft right in. The reason being it's sticking out too far, and as soon as I started to cut it or to part it, it started to chatter. So I'm hoping by putting it right in there, it's fairly close to the chuck, so it should be fairly right now. After I finish, I better put a slight chamfer on that, I think. Take the burr off it. There we have one nice, when I can find it again. So anyway, that is bush number one that's come off, like so. Now I'll just face this. It doesn't matter how much I face it because it's fairly faced anyway. Just give it a quick spin, make sure it's okay. And there we have 4 identical separate bushes now, which will be welded onto the lower bucket bracket on the case 1845. And for those who just want to see the other part again, that is a spacer block there with a screw or bolt which goes under there, which goes into the actual block. Then that is an adjustment which gives me all of that adjustment from there to there. That it also will go down or up depending on the size you job in the vise. This one's got a flat on there, of course, and then that's actually tapered so that I can either have that sitting still and I can sort of bring that up, bring it back like so. Whoops, I'll just bring this around. I've already turned the power off on the lathe, so that's all right. Now what will happen is that would normally go as far as that goes to there, and once that's done, then whatever length you make that from there to there, which is in accordance with wherever you're going to part it off, that will always be the same. So irrespective of whether you make one, you know, you've just seen me watch, you know, I've made 4 of them. Admittingly, I had to put the tool further in because right on that last one it was just too far out of the chuck, so I brought it back for safety reasons, and it just cut it straight through. Anyway, we'll carry on and you'll see what goes on. Oh, it just to show that these bushes will fit. That's the actual pin, or it's actually a bolt. It's about an 8 or a 10, maybe a 12 grade bolt, which they've got on this particular Bobcat. As you can see, that will go straight on. So I mean, it's not just one, the whole lot will go on. So which means it's only got a few thou clearance or tolerance, whatever, so that will be welded onto like the actual bushing. If I can get him back off, that will be welded onto a C channel, and then that pin will go through, so there'll be a couple of those on there.